All right. Well,
Okay.
anyways, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Nigeria's bad boy, Ghana's bad boy.
Wow.
It's an image that you've worn over the well, over like 20 years, like 20, like forever. Are you a bad boy?
Well, it depends on what side of the divide you are. You know,
It's
truthfully.
really not
Yeah,
ambiguous.
Yeah, it's a very ambiguous, so and
Okay.
I'll explain it. Apparently, being bad in certain contexts means running afoul of the law, being enemy of the state, enemy public number one, all that kind of stuff. That totally, make you a negative person, someone that has the wrong energy. Being bad on the other side, as I see it within the prism of my context, is being untraditional, unorthodox, approaching things with a certain different way of life, looking at life in a rather lopsided version. And I'm never ever following with the uniformity of life. I think that's what I am.
Shall you do speak English, wow? The prism of my context of my. I would need
or the
dictionary
prism.
through the interview.
Prism.
Hey.
You asked me a question.
The prism.
Andy, I mean, what do you think? I mean, am I
Well,
on point?
The uniformity
no,
of
no,
his-
you're on point. But I'm sure what she meant was that in movies you always
course.
play a bad boy.
Of
Well,
course.
no, well,
Have you ever played a good boy?
Yeah. Of the odd, perhaps
When he was a pastor or something, he was
65, awards that I've won that sit on my mantle right
Oh,
now.
wow. Congrats.
I think 50% of them came from roles that are relatively not, has anything to do with me being bad. They were deep-rooted roles of being a father, roles of being the victim, roles of being, the sufferer in the movie, the protagonist. So I think those that says so much for the art itself, the art form.
Do you think the press has been
Fair? No. No, not in any way.
really?
No, and I gave them good reasons to be what they are. When we started this thing, there was no pointers, there was no managerial, no direction. Nobody told us anything about fame. We were barely kids. I started doing this when I was barely 21.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 20 actually, 21. I just finished college, just got my first degree. I was off to do my master's when I discovered my life calling, and I said, you know what, let's cool with. Let me see what this has to hold for me. I was excommunicated from my family at that time.
Really?
Yes. My dad told me, listen, continue our path. If you know anything about the Igbo parent, especially the African, continue. They thought I was going to throw my life away, in essence. But I wanted to do this. And at that time, there was nothing. We had a little bit of, all of a sudden, we're millionaires before we're 22. And there was nobody. The arrogance came, the misdemeanor came. There's nobody that could school us about the responsibility that came with this. And then we misbehaved a lot. And we got judged by it a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of us also grew up. A lot of us came to understand the responsibility that's been entrusted to us. A lot of us carried on to the next realm of life properly. But, we already labeled a certain way. And the country I come from, trust me, emotions rise very high once they have an understanding, once they have a concretized opinion of you. And it's hard to. So after a while, I understood it for what it was. Do I go all out to start some sort of damage control, to start punitive measures in any sense? No, it took too much energy. So my focus was my immediate realm, the nuclear family that understood me, that, I would gain a lot by, giving them a wrong impression of me. And I focused very intensively on them. And I think I grew with them. So it really didn't matter what anybody outside that box thought. That frame of reference was solely theirs to deal with.
It means you don't really
Right.
care what they think.
And how many people's opinion can you change of you? If you don't want people to talk about you, have an opinion about you, stay at home. If you want to change the narrative, be prepared. The truth is that we're all humans. Not my finest hour, I dare say, but emotions run high. Why does it have to be the public figure that is held accountable all the time, that is held at the higher standards of moral ethics all the time? We all get into arguments, don't we? We're all humans. We all go to have a conversation. I didn't wake up in the morning and I walk into this gentleman's studio and decided to have an altercation with him. Don't forget, something provoked that incident already. This is a man that called into question my integrity in the first place. That said I'm a ritualist, that's how I live the life I live, the quality of life I live. I'm a man that, this man said that they should check the means of my wealth. that the quality of life and the things that I own obviously has to have nefarious backgrounds, questionable background, that I'm a ritualist. Okay? This is someone that lives in a country where we have the most corrupt leaders of all times. That's in the history of corrupt leaders, Nigerians take the mantle. We decide what corrupt leaders should look like. Where you understand? Seriously, we're the poster child for corrupt leaders.
Yeah.
And then you pick a man that since his 20s has walked till his early 40s to say you question the quality of life he lives. I went there to have a conversation because I'm a student of history. I'm a humanist. I want to understand the reason behind the reason. Why would you wake up in the morning and the first order of business for you is how to pull another person down? I wasn't the only one that was called into this picture, like they say. He called 3 or 4 other people. So I wanted to also prove a point that you can't stay behind the curtains and do these things and think nobody will find you. My point was to tell him I can find anybody I want anytime.
And you can confront them.
I have will, I have resources.
Did you get the answers that you wanted?
Absolutely. I went in there, we had a conversation. Things, of course, took a turn for the worse. And I mean, went south a little bit. That was the picture the press needed to sensationalize it. They didn't catch where we sat down. We had a conversation like men, popped a bottle of wine, drank to our health, and got it over with. The generation I come from, my dear, we don't do the social media exchanges and pull-ups. I don't know how to do it. I'm a man. I don't know about this piece, for lack of a better term. I walk up to a man if I have a situation with you. We converse about it. We intellectually converse about it. If it degenerates into altercations, we raise our fist. After that, we'll sit down, we'll drink beer, and then we'll do business after.
Okay, talking about business. So in the past few weeks...
Anyway, please, forgive me. For clarity,
yes,
all right?
Please.
And if in the morning, even when I posted his artwork, about 90% of the questions were about this altercation.
The altercation, okay.
So with all you're saying, the person made these statements prior to you going there.
Yes, I could have sued this person and taken him for everything he's worth. I had a team of lawyers sitting down and said, let's take him out. But I wanted to have a conversation. Even when I sat down, he told me that he was afraid I was going to sue him. And I had every reason for defamation to clean him out. I just didn't want to take food from the man. So I sat down and I did a recourse and said, let's talk. So they cut that part. It was all filtered, it was all doctored, of course. If they had cut the part where we made up, had a laugh, and had wine after that, that would not serve their purpose. That wouldn't serve their ulterior motives. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, that most times it's doctored. People never get to understand the full stretch, the other side of the coin, how it works out. And then after that, I told him, listen, the people you fight, I'm not the one who's attacked in that country. I said, the people you fight are usually people on top of their games. These are people that can open doors for you if you come the right way. You don't have to be public enemy number one. And have you gone to see each of the blogs, every media that took out that story? Not one person blamed me. Because I haven't seen any personality that's as hated as that dude. And I told him, listen, that's not the way to go. While I'm ready to have a conversation, you could be dealing with somebody a lot more dangerous that's not ready to have a conversation, that may just want to do something a lot more ominous than that. So think about that. You're not only doing this at the detriment of the people you attack, you're also doing it at the peril of
nana pay in a bit yaba na yaba bechiche busuanre na first minister nankasa ababete no beti o nankasa nanum efre busuan no ho ni siye ene sa bre e ho hyehye bi e ho a esese ono so oti no tunu kobo yewura president amane ene hyehye bi aka nti nana pay se hu si yaba yaba ya na ye nanso tititia ya sem ne se awerho ahye yakoma moma nana pay.
Nana is a role model, not to just myself, but to almost everyone who practices in the arts industry, because we grew up on his music. You saw your mother, your father, seeing him as a great performer, a great writer, a good song or storyteller. And so it was a privilege to meet Nana Ampadu after so many years, admiring him from afar. As an event organizer, I did a lot of events with him, very professional. He would always bring people together when people want to disperse. When there is agitation, he's a unifier. Because of naturally his age and his calmness, he will make sure that we all tone down and find a midpoint so we all move forward. Again, as I campaigned for the ruling party, the New Patriotic Party, NPP, he also had passion for the president, then a candidate. And so we had to converge at a point and then work together to make sure that President Akufo-Addo wins power. And that is why I'm here today. And so Creative Art for Change, which we formed, Nana Ampadu played a pivotal role as well. Yeah.
All right. What are some of the lessons this generation can learn from Nana Ampadu?
The whole world is watching. Every step counts.
It's obvious that over the years, over his life on earth, Nana Ampadu was a very great icon, not just to Ghana, but to the rest of the world. His songs touch on every subject that mattered on this in Ghana, and the country has lost an illustrious person in terms of creative arts. His songs the lyrics had a lot of meaning. It had a lot of profound advice for young people, even for the elderly. So we cannot quantify the loss. Just to say that the industry has lost a great person, and the world is the loser.